In today's episode, we will be answering questions from our listeners that include identity, commitment, and weight loss.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it done, or you simply want to raise your game and start getting more done, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Today's episode is answering your questions. Today's question comes in from
Nathaniel in Philadelphia wants to know, why, when I lose weight, can I not keep the weight off?
Well, as many of you know, I struggled in this area as well. I spoke about accountability just a couple days ago. But it also can be is you don't have a big enough why. You have a lack of tools. You don't have the right strategy. You could be addicted to sugar, like most of us are. You can have conflicting belief systems. Who you are. You never really truly decided and committed. And a lot of times it comes down to your identity. You don't see yourself as that person.
What does that mean? You don't see yourself as that person?
We all have a identity of how we see ourselves. And if we believe that we are a certain size or a certain shape, or this is who we are, and we have a story around that, we're going to stay consistent with that story.
So we have an identity of who we believe, and we're going to stay consistent with that story. So what's happening in the time in our life when we are losing weight? We are inconsistent with our story in that moment?
No, when we're trying to make a change, we're going against what our current identity is, and we're trying to form a new identity. I get up every day and I go to the gym 7 days a week. That is not a difficult task for me. One, I enjoy it, and it's who I am. There was a point in my life where that was not who I was, and I had to struggle in order to force myself to do it.
And you struggled, how long would you say, to force yourself to do it?
I would say that it took me 4 months.
And how did you maintain the effort to do it in the 4 months when it was a struggle?
Great question. First, I decided what I wanted to do. Then I came up with the plan. I got to go to the gym every day. And when I came up with that plan, I decided I committed to it, and I started executing it every single day. And after you kept doing it every day, one day, I just said, I'll show up tomorrow. And pretty soon I started to see some results, and I enjoyed the process.
Oh, the results made you shift. What was the difference between doing it?
Yeah, but the results made me shift, but I had to keep doing it before that kicked in.
So the results made you feel encouraged, would you say?
Yes.
And then you still had to keep doing it through that encouragement before you...
Yes, because in the beginning there wasn't any results. I was doing it, and there was no results.
And what were you relying on every time when you just kept getting no results? Let's say you did it for 4 months, and let's say 2 of the 4 months you didn't have any results.
I made a commitment to it. This is what I'm going to do. I keep my word when I make my commitment to myself.
And how many people do you think do that?
Peak performers do. And it's all it is a learned skill.
A learned skill to commit to what you say you're going to do?
Sure.
Commitment is a learned skill.
Absolutely.
Were you always like that?
I was.
Committed.
Yes.
Or able to hold your word when you committed to something.
Able to hold my word when I commit to something.
And now we're talking to people who may not have had the same identity, the same type of identity fixed in their childhood as you have. And now you've grown into an adult who doesn't give a lot of credence to keeping your word, doesn't feel necessarily that making a commitment is something they have to do in order to achieve something. What do you then do?
So what you're really asking is, how do you keep the commitment to yourself?
Yeah, I'm saying that there are those of us who grow up and don't learn the lesson that commitment is very important. And as a result, we take it lightly. And you're saying that you kept showing up to the gym because you had made the commitment to yourself.
Right. Most people don't understand the difference between deciding and committing. Deciding is being interested in an objective. Committing is burning the boats and not having a way back. Committing is about keeping the word to yourself. Most people don't know how to commit because they don't know how to commit to themselves first. And keeping your word is step one in committing.
Okay.
It's part of your identity. It's who you are.
Okay.
Now, look, have I broken commitments? Yes. But I take commitments very seriously. And I just don't commit to anything. If you ask me next Friday, can we go to this party? My reaction is very slow. First of all, I'm not saying anything until I check my calendar. Second, I'm looking at what I'm trying to do. What's this week about? What's this month about? What is my life about? Does this fit in alignment with what I'm trying to do? Now, part of what I want to do is I want to have fun. So things like that get put into my schedule. But if I have other commitments that are important that I need to deliver on, I have a major commitment I need to deliver on Sunday. So my weekend is partitioned out to make sure that I get that commitment done on Sunday. It's not maybe. It will be done.
Okay. And I heard you say something in there that was key, I think. So you wouldn't have committed to it unless you had first given it some thought that you could even honor the commitment.
Absolutely. And the first step is look at my calendar.
So if we tie this back to the weight loss question.
Yes.
Then are people deciding, first of all, you're making a distinction between deciding and committing.
Big distinction.
Okay. So first of all, people are deciding to do this weight loss effort. However, diet, gym, whatever. Sure. They're deciding to do it without first having considered if they really want to, maybe.
Oh, they want to. See, that's the problem. People say they want to do this. They're interested in this. They'll do that all day long.
Do they want to, though? You and I have had conversations about what is
underneath. Yes, what they want is the result, but they're not willing to commit to what it takes in order to get it.
Okay, so if they could flow through time, if they could just tesseract from here to there,
of course.
They'd love to just see themselves at the other end, less weight and more fit.
That's why they're buying pills by the billions. Let me take a pill and it'll work and I'll be fine. I don't have to do any of this stuff.
Okay. So it's something out there in the ether that they're chasing that they want.
Well, look, our mind is about keeping us alive, not making us happy, not making us stronger, alive. Sitting on the couch, watching TV, eating bonbons. You're not exerting energy. You're not pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. Your body's happy.
It feels good.
Yes. And plus you're taking in the sugar, which releases the dopamine, which is a drug.
Yeah. And the feel good triggers the pleasure centers in our brain.
Yeah. And then you want more of it. And going to the gym?
Yeah. No pleasure centers in that until a ways down the road.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. You can shift your body and your mind. So when you're exercising, your body also releases the chemicals that produces pleasure.
Okay. So the dopamine can come from exercise.
Absolutely.
But you have to kill the sugar trigger and then move it to an exercise trigger or happiness you feel from losing weight or happiness you feel from buying smaller clothes.
Yeah. The exercise releases endorphins, and those endorphins make you feel good.
So what's the first thing I need to do to start moving to achievement?
Well, when it comes to weight loss, the first thing is, and this was addressed in the Damon Sewell interview, you need to make sure that you break that food addiction, that sugar addiction.
That's going to make me unhappy.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to be instantly unhappy.
You will be unhappy for the first 3 days, I promise you.
And what do you want me to tell myself, though,
while
I'm unhappy?
Thing. You know, if you were addicted to heroin, I can't say, all right, stay on the heroin, just do a little bit less, and then go to the gym. It's not going to work.
That's true.
Okay? And please understand, going to the gym is not the secret to weight loss. So let's address
be clear on
that, okay?
Yeah.
It's your diet, not the exercise.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's the thing. We've got to stop that addiction because you always hear people about willpower. I have willpower. How do I keep this willpower up? You don't want willpower. What you want is your identity and an alignment so it doesn't take any willpower. You want to understand where you're going. So first, you got to get rid of that addiction. Second, you need to start to shift how you see yourself, your identity. It's as simple as sitting down and writing down on a piece of paper, I am someone who takes care of my body. I'm someone that goes to the gym a day. Write that out every single day as you wake up. And then put on your gym clothes and go to the gym. And I promise you, after 40 days, 30 days, 60 days, it'll just be part of who you are.
And I think I would add to that, based on what you and I have talked about over the years, is if you're going to break the sugar addiction, if you're going to work to do that.
Not if you're going to. You have to.
You have to. It's like heroin, right? You can't be healthy
it's
and be on heroin.
7 or 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Look at the studies.
Okay. So would you say don't even get started with this process until you've identified your level of commitment?
Commitment becomes easier, but you've got to commit to it. Look, I'm going to
first, you think?
Yes, absolutely. decide what you want.
And let's say you get 5 days down the road, you fall off the wagon. What should you say to yourself? Oh, I wasn't committed. I got to go back and reevaluate my commitment.
Look, success is not a straight line.
Okay, that's fair.
Do I miss a day? Sure I do.
Okay.
Don't beat yourself up. Just start tomorrow.
Yes, I learned that. You can fix it tomorrow.
You can fix it tomorrow. Fix it that afternoon.
Yeah.
Get on the floor and drop and do a couple push-ups.
And just reset your mindset.
Yes, absolutely. It's not about going to the gym.
Right.
Drop exactly where you are right now and start doing some sit-ups and push-ups.
And then do it again tomorrow.
And then do it again. It's about building a habit. People ask all the time about this willpower. I don't know how to do it. How do I keep my motivation up? Motivation and inspiration. It's like adrenaline. Okay, you don't want motivation and inspiration. You want identity. You want that to be who you are at your core. Because when something happens, it just automatically kicks in. I don't have to think about it.
And you start to feel, and now when you don't go to the gym for a sustained period of time, which doesn't happen to you, I know that you go to the gym regularly.
But there was a period of time where it was, as I was building that habit.
Fits and starts.
Exactly. Start, stops. And then when I finally got really clear on why am I doing this? What do I want? And I truly made that part of my identity. And look, accountability was a big piece of it. You've seen what's happened. We talked about it in a previous podcast.
Well, here's what I'm saying is you had fits and starts.
Absolutely.
And you were saying that success is not a straight line, which I think
it's just part of the process.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to note because something that needs to come along with learning to build the muscle of commitment, which I think is what I hear you saying is also necessary. Learn to learn how to commit.
Yes. Yeah. And it's got to start with keeping the commitments that you make to yourself.
Right. And that takes a learning curve.
It does. And what it also does is takes a strategy. Right. You should say yes to things very, very carefully. And you should be saying no to most things.
And you should be saying yes to things even to yourself very carefully.
Yes.
Or most importantly to yourself. Okay.
It's about keeping first the commitment to yourself.
So it's how you handle yourself first. You learn to do that. And then that radiates out to how you handle other things and other people.
Yeah. The example last weekend. You and I had plans on Friday night. And a very important friend of mine called and said, I have a window. I've got 2-hour window. Yeah. And we have to meet on the project that we're working on. And trying to get him is impossible. And he said, I only have this window. And I looked at my schedule, and you and I had committed to doing dinner that night. And I called him back. I said, sorry, I can't do it. I made a commitment to someone else, and I'm not going to change that commitment.
And let me tell you, I cannot tell you because I knew that he was difficult to get a hold of. I knew he was difficult to make appointments with, and I knew that it might have been another week before you got to see him, maybe a month.
A week? It would have been a month.
I know. And I cannot tell you how honored I was to get that text from you that told me I'm making a decision based on priority, and you are my number one priority. I was so honored. I was so touched, and I cannot imagine what that might feel like if someone had done that for the first time for themselves. Because isn't that what you're saying, right? Imagine if there's been all this time in your life when, particularly with the gym or weight loss or nutrition, where you've said to yourself, I really want to put myself first and be fit and change the way I see myself. And then when you don't do it, it feels like this letdown. It feels like you did not prioritize yourself.
Yeah, if you're breaking your commitments and you don't feel in your gut that you've done something wrong, you need to check in with yourself because then your commitments don't mean much to you.
Right. And so you need to fix that first.
And if your commitments don't mean anything to you, they're not going to mean anything to anybody else, and you will not get what you want out of life, period. You've got to take responsibility, and that part of that responsibility is keeping your commitments.
Okay, so let's recap. Let's cap it all off. So weight loss or anything else, right? Something that we're going from a way we've always done things, but we want to get to a place where we do things in a new, better way. First primary steps.
Really, really commit to something. Post on Facebook what you've committed to. Tell your friends, tell your family. Get yourself some accountability. At first, you're going to have to rely on inspiration and motivation, but quickly turn that to identity. And the way you start to form a new identity is by start doing the activity. I'm not a jogger. Why? Because I don't jog. I'm not a runner because I don't run. If I want to be a runner, all I got to do is start running. So identity is formed by doing the activity. If you're a skier, guess what? You ski. If you're a golfer, you golf. If you're someone that takes care of their body and is in good shape, that's what you do. That's how you change your identity. You start doing the activity. Day in, day out. Form the activity. Form the habit. And also, write it down. I am. And follow that with who you are.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I think my takeaways today from you specifically are success is not a straight line.
No.
The most important commitments you make are the ones to yourself first. And take small actions each day to move you closer to your goal, and have some understanding with yourself as you're shifting your identity from one thing to the better thing.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Thor.
All right. Question of the day. Where in your life have you not really fully committed to the extent that you need to? Call to action. Fully commit. Get yourself the accountability that you need and tell the world what you're about to do. And then do it. Thank you so much for listening. If you're not already subscribed to the show, please go to iTunes, subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating after you've had a chance to listen and download some of the episodes. If you found this to be helpful, please share this with friends, family, coworkers, or anyone that could benefit from this information. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. Please head over to the website and sign up for our newsletter, and you'll receive weekly tips, tricks, and insights on how to be a peak performer. If you have any questions, please send them to info@thorconklin.com. And remember, these episodes are anywhere between 15 and 35 minutes for a reason. They are to be consumed during dot time, while you're commuting, while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.